Hi everyone, welcome back to the SC-900 series, and I'm Cyber with Jagdish from Secify. And today we are going to answer a very important question in cloud, that whenever you move to the cloud, who is responsible for security? Is it you or Microsoft? So let's understand this basic new beginner foundation question that arises in our mind. And in this video, mainly we are going to talk about shared responsibility model. And this video is like part of section 1, and we are in the subsection A, and we are just starting with the first topic of subsection A, and it's about the describing the shared responsibility model. And the basic questions that we will get clearance on is going to be that what it is, what shared responsibility model is, why it matters, and how does it changes depending on the cloud services or cloud service provider you use. Now let's talk about what shared responsibility model is. So we are going to cover that who is responsible for what in the cloud, what tasks are going to be performed by you, and what tasks are going to be performed by Microsoft or your service provider, and how does it changes as per the services you are going to take, for example IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. For example, in on-premises, when we used to handle everything from physical to data encryption, so it was the duty of everything was used to be handled from the employees of the organization. We were independent, we were dependent of everything. We used to deploy in our organization from data center to networks, from having a look on the CCTV and everything else, wiring, etc. Whereas things got changed when we adopt the IaaS, which stands for Infrastructure as a Service. Now, here Microsoft secures the infrastructure, which is hardware, networking, data center, and you are going to manage the virtual machines, operating systems, and applications. For example, your VMs, your Azure disk storage, and the virtual networks, you how you want it. Now that is something you are going to handle. That is something your responsibility is in the infrastructure as a service. All right, then we move forward in PaaS, which is platform as a service. And here Microsoft is going to manage hardware and the OS. And you are still responsible for managing applications without taking care of the VMs or operating systems. Example like Azure App Services, Azure Functions, Azure SQL Database, and Azure Storage. Coming to the next point, which is almost everyone is using, which is software as a service, SaaS. Now here Microsoft handles almost everything, the app, infrastructure, and the OS, and you are still responsible for using the ready-made applications. For example, Microsoft 365, Dynamic 365, and other cloud applications. So no matter what the model is going to be, you are always owning your data. For example, your devices, the data, accounts, and access management. This is always going to fall under your queue. Here is a Microsoft provided official reference of shared responsibility model. It clearly tells about that in the on-premises, the customer was responsible for everything. If you see here the blue blocks, and as we go for the IaaS, the customer's responsibilities goes a little away. He is no more responsible for handling the physical host, physical network, and physical data centers. And in the past, the customer has partial duties about the identity and directory infrastructure, applications, network controls. And whereas in the SaaS, the customer is solely responsible for handling its own information data, devices, and accounts and entities. Now, here is the real analogy of which will help you understand this shared responsibility model from subconsciously. And so it's more like if you own the own premises, so you own the house. You are going to handle everything from cleaning the windows, blocking up the door, cleaning the garden and the trees that are blocking your view, everything. Now, whereas the services from a cloud from your cloud provider is like if you own a SaaS, so you get a fully furnished rented apartment, and the landlord is going to handle most of the things. You just lock your door, unlock your stuff like your case inside your room, but you don't have to worry about the apartment. That's it's something which is going to be taken care by your landlord, who is Microsoft Azure or your cloud service provider. Now, here is a beginner pitfall and pro tip. The pitfall is people usually think, or beginner usually think, that Microsoft is going to handle almost everything. Now, that is not the case. The pro tip is you should always have a look that what part of the stack am I still responsible for, especially for the data and identities, because those are always going to be yours. Now, what is next? In the next video 4, we're going to discuss about this defense in depth, that how layering your security can keep the attackers out even if one defense is failed. And before we leave this episode 3, I would like to have a quick quiz with you. So, which of this is always your responsibility, no matter the cloud service model? What do you think of this? Is it option A, data center physical security, option B, account and identities, or option C, which is operating system? Drop your comment A, B, C in the comments and let me know why. And yep, that's a wrap up. And make sure you subscribe and stick around. And this is just the beginning of building your SC-900 mastery. And see you in the video 4.